So in this video, I'm going to show you how to solve systems of linear equations by clearing decimals. And you should already understand the elimination and substitution techniques before you watch this video. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I highly recommend that you go back and just review those, because I'm going to just kind of freely use them in this video so I can just focus on clearing decimals. So I have this problem here. Really, I only have decimals in one equation just to kind of show you the technique. And we'll do 3 equations in total, or 3 problems in total for this video. So in the event that you have decimals, like we see here, the way to clear them is just like you would clear decimals really in any other type of problem. So you identify, how many decimals, what are the maximum number of decimal spots used. So here, 2 spots, 1 spot, 2 spots. So the maximum number in this case would be 2. And then you can move the decimal that many spots, in this case 2 spots, to the right. So I'm going to move this 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so now I get 2x plus 10y equals 5. So notice I moved this particular decimal 2 spots, so there was kind of like this empty spot when I moved it, so I put a 0 there, so this becomes 10y. And now I just want to restate the second equation. I always like to keep them paired up. And so from here, now this is the system that I could actually solve, and I can use whatever techniques I want to solve this. So I think it would be best to use elimination. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this equation by -2. And if I do that, then I'll be able to eliminate out definitely my x's. So let's see, if I multiply by -2, this becomes -4x minus 20y equals -10. And then this is 4x plus 20y equals 10. And so you might already see what's going to happen here. So as I try to eliminate, so my x's actually drop out, as do my y's. So on the left side, I just have a 0, and then on the right side, -10 and 10 is also 0. So how do we interpret this? Well, we've talked about this in other videos. So this would indicate that there are infinite solutions, because 0 equals 0 is a true statement. So this is infinite solution. And so when we get infinite solutions, we know that we have to represent our answer in a special format. So then what you're going to have to do is look at the 2 equations that you've got and decide which one you'd prefer to solve for y. Personally, I'd prefer to solve this one for y, so let's just focus on that one. So to solve for y, so the first thing that I'm going to want to do is subtract off the 4x, so I have 20y equals 10 minus 4x, and then I divide each part by 20, so I get y equals, so 10 over 20, that can be reduced to 1/2. And then 4x over 20, I can divide the top and bottom by 4. So this will become 1 over 5x. You could also call this x over 5. It's the same thing. I just prefer writing it as a fraction in front of x. So here's my solved equation. And so then my final answer is going to be this xy, such that y equals 1/2 minus 1/5 x. All right, so let's do that again. And now I have a situation where I have multiple decimals here, so in both equations. So in the first equation, what is the maximum number of decimal spots that I have? Well, it would be 2 again. So once again, I'm going to move all of my decimal spots to the right and then rewrite kind of out the problem. So this first problem now will be 10x minus 5y equals 20. Now what about in the second equation? What are the maximum number of decimal spots in the second equation? Well, it's still 2. So now I'm going to move all of these over 2. And so this will be 30x minus 25y equals 20. And so now from here, now it's just whatever you want to do to finish this. So if you want to pause and maybe finish the problem on your own, that would be great practice. For my purposes, I guess I'm going to multiply this equation by -3. You could have multiplied it by something else. That's just what stands out to me. So if I multiply this equation by -3, this becomes negative 30x plus 15y equals negative 60, and 30x minus 25y equals 20. So now I can use elimination. So if I add these straight down, this becomes negative 10y equals negative 40. Divide both sides by negative 10, and I get y equals 4. Okay, now in this particular situation, now you might be thinking, where do I plug that 4 back in? Do you plug it back into the original equations? You don't have to use these equations again after you clear the decimals, so you can now just focus on using these simpler equations going forward. So I'm going to plug the y equals 4 into the first equation. So this will be 10x minus 5 times 4 equals 20. So this is 10x minus 20 equals 20. Add the 20 to each side to get 10x equals 40. And divide both sides by 10 to get x equals 4. And so my solution, I'll write it up here in the top right. So this will be 4, 4. That would be my solution in this case. Okay, so we have this last example now, and I highly recommend if you feel like you've got this, then maybe just pause here and try to do the whole example on your own. So I am going to move all of the decimals for both problems just one spot over. So this first equation will become negative 4x plus 13y equals 12. And then for the other one, so moving all of these over one spot, this will be 16x minus 9y equals 38. Okay, so now we can use whatever techniques we want to finish this off. I am going to use elimination again, and I'm going to multiply this problem by 4 so that I can drop out the x's. So if I do that, I'll get negative, oops, let me grab the white pen. I'll get negative 16x plus 52y equals 48. And then I still have the other equation. And so now I can go ahead and eliminate. So I can add straight down. So this will turn into 43y, and this will equal 86. And then I can divide both sides by 43 to get y equals 2. Okay, so now I can plug this back into one of these two equations, and let's see, I'll plug it into, how about the second equation? 16x minus 9 times 2 equals 38. So 16x minus 18 equals 38. So I need to add 18 to both sides, and I get 16x equals 56, and then I can divide both sides by 16. And so this will actually come out to the decimal of 3.5. So my answer here will be 3.5, 2. And so that'll do it for this particular lesson. So hopefully that was helpful. Any questions, you can always drop me a comment. If this video was helpful to you, consider giving me a like or hitting the subscribe button. And otherwise, I'll catch you guys later.